On my, this meeting is called to order, please. Rise, please, as you can and are willing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Thank you all for coming. To my knowledge, we have had no one sign up to deliver public comment tonight. Good, thank you. We'll move then into the report of the secretary. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of Wednesday, April 26th, 2023.
I'll second, Lisa.
Lisa, thank you. Let me first note that the minutes now feature hot-linked timestamps to the place in the video where the
Very smart.
thing is discussed, and that is a spectacular
Yes.
innovation.
Great.
I didn't see any problems with anything in here. I thought they were very nicely done.
Yes, they look great.
Anybody have any comments or questions? All in favor? That's 4-0. Thank you very much. Okay, that moves us into the report of the chair. Actually have a few things tonight. First, the town officials meeting, the next one, will be on next Wednesday, the 10th of May. I presume that's at 8:30, and we're going to do it at the South Berwick Police Station. At their conference room, which is where we've met in the past to do the South Berwick hosted portion. So again, I will do my best to remember to organize to make sure that we don't have more than 3, but excellent. Okay, secondly, the district budget meeting. We're currently planning to do it on May 17th, and we actually have a motion in our new business tonight to formalize the process of the May 17th district budget meeting and then the follow-on referendum at the polls. So in lieu of our next board meeting, 2 weeks from tonight, we will be doing the district budget meeting in the auditorium. Okay?
Can I just get clarity? I believe it's always been at 7 o'clock. Is the time we do. Is that correct? Did we do 7?
That's my recollection as well. I think 7 o'clock.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep. Yeah, and that leads to the next, which is there's a number of warrant articles that get moved and seconded and voted upon. The first 10 of them, if I'm not mistaken, are the expenditure warrant articles.
One of them we skipped basically because it's debt service and we don't have it.
Okay, thank you. Good clarification. So what we've done in the past typically is have each of the board members read the motion for 2, respectively, of those. As the chair, I will second the motion, and then as the first comment that's delivered once the moderator opens that warrant article to comment, that board member will read a description of what that warrant article means, and Ryan very, very kindly provides us with descriptions. They're numbered 1 to 10. I can do the first 2 from memory. It's regular education and special education. After that, I get a little hazy. But does anyone have a preference as to which of those first 10 articles they want to introduce? Okay. Let me do this then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And Ryan, you'll send that information to everybody just so they have their articles as they're ready to go.
Did you get that, Ryan? So Jen is 1, 2, Lisa's 3, 4, Kate is 5, 6. Yes.
7, 8.
7, 8. Heather 7, 8. Rebecca 9, 10. Okay. And then as the evening proceeds and we get through the expenditure warrants, we get to the appropriation warrants. Those get. I will wind up. I believe it's been the practice that the chair moves those and the vice chair seconds them, and then we do the discussion. Okay. It's usually a lot of fun. Okay, so that's good. We've got that, and that. And then, of course, the validation referendum will take place on June 13th. That's the second Tuesday in June. That's at the polls for both South Berwick and Elliott. And for those of you watching at home, please plan to come to the district budget meeting and go to the polls on June 13th. Okay. One last thing, not on the agenda because I forgot about it. I beg your indulgence on this. Next Tuesday, May 9th, is School Board Day at the State House. I don't know if you all got the email from the MSBA today. There was an email sent out. I am planning to go. It'll be the first time I've gone. There's generally 50 or 60 folks from around the state that go and spend a little bit of time in each of the chambers. And I think typically there's a motion, a resolve in each of the chambers honoring the school boards for the work that we do. So that'll be pretty cool. I think that's how that's going to go. So if you're interested in going, let me know. Okay, that concludes my report and brings us to the report of the superintendent.
Thank you very much. I want to start off with just a quick review of our budget that we've been working on for the last few months anyway. And so the budget that we have before us tonight really emphasizes health education is a real big point of where we're trying to invest some monies, where that would impact Marshwood High School, Marshwood Great Works School, Central Elementary School, and Elliott Elementary School. And so we're really trying to do a broad approach. I'm really trying to address some of the MIDAS data that we received, and just really hope that we can do a better job of getting to kids early and letting them know kind of those good choices and how to make those good choices. Also, some significant investments on the school safety, looking at how to make our facilities safer. A new boiler at Marshwood High School. And on kind of a lighter note, we're making a significant investment into a playground at Elliott Elementary School and partnering with our peeps. So really kind of some important things. The other kind of a bigger issue that we've had to face is just significant increase in costs. And so managing, for instance, our electricity costs are up about $200,000, significant. I kind of used the example of the paper being up a considerable amount when we did the budget presentation. I certainly would encourage anybody to go onto the website and be able to look at that presentation, and certainly be happy to answer any questions. The overall increase to the budget is a 4.48% with a 3.08% ask of our two local communities.
Yeah.
And so we work really hard to be able to find that threshold of where we can be fiscally conscious, but also provide for what our students need. And so I think we were able to thread that needle and be able to do that. So. Any questions from the board? Okay, and there will be a motion to vote on that, a number of pieces of paperwork that fall into place after that, and that would be what would be discussed at the budget referendum process. The budget meeting process, pardon me. Next on my agenda, just more kind of getting it on your radar, June 7th is usually a really big meeting for us. And so that is the day that we honor our retirees, which is awesome, and we also honor our top 10. And so timing-wise, it didn't happen last year just because the way the dates fell, but that Wednesday is also convocation at the high school. And so typically we start at 6 o'clock, but sometimes the top 10 takes a little bit longer than that. And so we're asking to start that meeting at 5:30. So the meeting will start at 5:30, and then obviously if people have family members or what have you that may need to leave at that point in time to go to convocation, you can do that, or quite possibly the meeting could be over by 7 o'clock, so everybody could go to convocation. Just a big idea. So we'll put that out, if that makes sense to everybody on the board. Is that agreeable with everybody? It is a slight change.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you very much. Next is just confirmation of some summer meeting dates. We talked about, I talked about kind of throughout June 12th is a possible date, and then August 23rd. That August 23rd kind of being that critical date, just because if we had staff that we hired over the summer, we want to make sure we have them in place and approved prior to the start of school, which is the 28th of August.
And
Yep.
that was July 12th.
July 12th, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those dates were fine with me. Did you all check your calendars?
I think I already put them in. Yeah.
Good.
I might be working that day, but I can try and switch days.
Okay,
I've got some time.
let us know.
On July 12th.
Okay, so I'm going to move forward, and we're going to pencil those in.
Yeah.
And maybe turn them into a pen soon. Okay. Number 4, policy IJNDC-E was something that the policy committee worked on the other day. E was a form that was referenced in the policy, which basically is the form that schools do that says, you may use my child's picture, you may take my child's picture, you may use, they could be in, if the news came, they could be there, or if there was a bulletin board that you're putting up. We thought that there was a universal form years ago, there was, but I think that's now splintered off, so there's 5 forms. And so when the budget committee, the policy committee met, the thought was there was a universal form, so we're gonna take that back to the policy committee and create a form, and share that with everybody to have it make sense, but we couldn't bring that policy forward because we didn't actually have the exemplar to be able to do that, so, just so you're aware of that, so. I'm moving right along, I apologize, we're moving. Discussion of the special ed reserve, and so one of the significant areas of concern that both Ryan and I had as we were building this budget was kind of the unexpected cost of special education. And so, as a reminder, in the special education process, an IEP team meeting occurs, and the team really focuses on what's the least restrictive environment for a student. And so, a student could require a very restrictive environment, which would be an out-of-district placement, or it could be, that least restrictive environment could be just be in the classroom and just maybe have some accommodations, modifications built into an IEP. That can change at any point. Anytime that there's a meeting, those things could change. And so particularly if someone were to move into the community, that's like a variable that we can't control. We can try to create some room within that, within our budget, but we have to budget it really tightly. The other part is that the state reimburses us, but basically that reimbursement is almost 2 years behind, 18 months behind roughly. And so what Ryan and I spoke about was, as part of the budget referendum process, or the budget meeting, is putting aside $150,000 into our special education reserve, which would allow us to be able to spend that money in the event that we're short money in special education. And so, Ryan, can I touch upon a little bit more?
So the article that we're talking about is article number 17. It's in the budget documents that you'll be signing tonight for the budget meeting. And essentially what it does is it takes $150,000, it sets it aside in a reserve. At that point, we're also asking for authorization within the same article that the board would have the authority to expend from that fund without having to go back to the voters. So basically, we'd put $150,000 of our fund balance aside for special education, and we'd be able to access that at any time. So anytime we experience cost overruns or a problem, we could come to the board and say, can we please expend that money, and the board could do a vote, and at that point, that money would be released, and we could do that. So
And is the intent that if the money does not get used, that it remains in
that's correct.
in that fund?
Yes.
Okay.
And we currently have a special education reserve right now. We've done this before. I think it was 2 years ago. We have $50,000 currently in the reserve. We're just asking to add another $150,000 to it. Another thing that we didn't touch on, or Mr. Cavalier didn't touch on, was, again, transportation sometimes becomes an issue, where if a new student moves in that requires wheelchair access to a vehicle that we may not be able to accommodate with our current vehicles, we may have to purchase or rent a new vehicle, which, again, we've had to do, so.
And just, I know $150,000 is a lot of money, but just keep in mind that a single placement for a child out of district could cost upwards of $140,000. And so like they just have for one child, and so like obviously that's a very restricted placement, a very expensive placement, but like this is real money. So it's not like something that typically you can find some money in the margins, or you didn't buy crayons, and so you have some extra money, you can kind of pull things together. Sometimes this is significant money we're talking about. So. So we felt like the safest way to do that without putting additional money in the budget just in case. We tried to find that middle ground of like, let's put some money aside out of our fund balance to be able to have that, but at the same time, keep our budget, what we expect and what we're planning for, but to at least have that safety net if there was a problem.
Yep. Yep.
Makes sense.
About that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a couple of resignations in the last week or so. Grace McLeod is a kindergarten teacher at Elliott Elementary School. She's been with us for a few years, does a fantastic job in the classroom, so we are going to miss Grace tremendously. And Anthony Thompson was a special education teacher at Elliott Elementary School. In his first year, did a beautiful job with our unified basketball program, really involved with the kids, was involved with our volleyball program, but he has resigned as a special education teacher at Elliott Elementary School. So. And number 7, I was hoping to kind of get some feedback from you. We shared a link with you on the parental resource page that we've been putting together. Crystal did an incredible job of kind of getting some resources together. Obviously, that document will grow as kind of time goes by. But just we really felt like it was imperative to have a place where if parents need to know things, where can I start? So this would love to get your feedback regarding the webpage.
Yeah, it looked great.
I think it's definitely
Yep.
definitely a great start.
I think it's,
And it's exciting to have it,
Yes.
you know, I think it's just necessary
Yep.
and
then
it's so
to-
hard, like, all the information is sort of somewhere,
Mhm.
but sometimes you just want to dive in and have it organized.
I knew you were gonna say that, so I had a meeting today. And so, Crystal, who does, really a lot of our, data management, she took that kind of off Becky's plate, so
Mhm.
that's why we did this reshifting. She has a real strength in webpage design, and what she said to me was, John, the information's there, the
Yeah.
problem is that how you get to the information from Marshwood High School is very different than how you get
Yes.
to it from the Great Works School
Yes.
to Central School, and so
Yes.
really, how do we start to streamline that?
Yeah.
At that point, my brain's about to fry, because that
Yeah.
is like a foreign language to me, and she's
Yeah.
like, I can do all of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's
So it's
so
gonna take some
great.
time, but she's gonna
Yes.
start kind of going through and working with the principals and saying, look, how do we do this? How do we set this up? At least there's a kind of some common formulaic ways to get to information and be able to make it more user-friendly for
Yes.
people. So
Across.
I
Yeah.
knew you were gonna say that, so I was
That's
ready.
how my brain thinks.
Yes,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
So
I think it
great.
would just be helpful if Vicky can share that website across
So my plan is,
or the link.
tomorrow, Friday, or Monday, in the next 3 days,
Yep.
I would like to put a letter out to families and saying, welcome to
is-
this great resource,
Perfect.
here it is. Also, this is the last day of school, this is the last Thursday late start. There's just kind of some odds and ends out
Loose
there. I
ends,
just want to
yep.
kind of communicate, kind of a catch-all letter for families.
Great.
But just say, hey, look, you know, if you're looking for information on cell phone usage, this is a
Yep.
great place to go. Or you're
Yep.
looking for questions about gun safety in the home, you know, this will be on the website. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
That's
really
good.
Great.
exciting.
I just think, for me, it just kind of helps with that, those things that are kind of related to school, but really are parental issues, but
Mhm.
still wanting to be able to give information for families, to be able to
Mhm.
make good decisions and say, this is the logical place for these things to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
That's fantastic.
okay, well, I will meet with her tomorrow, and I will try to get that letter out by Monday at the latest, that's my hope.
Great.
Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Cool. So I'll start with the sports report. So our boys varsity lacrosse won their away non-conference game against Oxford Hills with a score of 14-0 on the 28th. The Marshwood girls varsity lacrosse team won their away game against Gorham with a score of 10-6. The girls also had a home game yesterday against Cunnybunk. They put up a good fight but lost 19-11. On the 27th, the Marshwood varsity baseball team won their home game against Gorham by a score of 6-4. On the 28th, the Hawks lost their game against Scarborough with a score of 5-4, and then they played Thornton Academy on the 1st, and they also lost 9-6. On the 28th, the Marshwood varsity softball team won their away game against Falmouth with a score of 14-0 as well. Tennis has a meet at USM today, and the track and field team had a great meet last Wednesday, hosted by Sanford. The girls came in first and boys in third, I believe. And they were supposed to have a meet yesterday at Thornton Academy, but it was postponed due to weather. Big things happening in Student Gov right now and in the school. Student Gov is helping run something new that we are starting called Thought Talk Tuesdays, which is a space after school from 2:30 to 3:30 for teens and teachers to engage in great conversation about some interesting topics. May 9th is social media, that's the topic, and then May 16th is the artful act of saying no, and the 23rd is sleep. Dr. McGlinchey set up quiet time activity after school every Wednesday. Today was yoga, I believe. The Wellness Hawk Block will be happening May 25th. There will be 4 locations. In the CAF, there will be vision boarding, peace crane folding, gardening, planting, toy station Legos, and decorating hats. In the stadium, there will be Foursquare, yoga, bubbles, and cloud watching. At the volleyball courts, there will be chalk talk, karaoke, volleyball, and nature mandalas. And at the gym, there will be nature walk, old school recess, pool noodle activity, and frisbee golf. So each student will pick 2 locations to visit throughout the hour and 20-minute long Hawk Block. For extracurriculars, the Civil Rights team is holding an open mic night on May 31st to give our community's performers, musicians, and comedians and any other talents the opportunity to showcase their abilities in a welcoming environment. Performers and attendees are automatically entered into a raffle to win either a gift card to Roma Joe's or a gift card for Amazon. The dodgeball tournament for the senior class is scheduled for this weekend at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And the Select Chorus and Jazz Band concert this Thursday is at 7 p.m. The chorus and band also just traveled to New York a couple days ago for the Big Apple Festival. The band took home first place in their division, while the chorus took home second place in their division. And a huge shout out to AJ Gordon and Hayden Sawyer, who both received solo recognition trophies as well. The marching band had their opening house last night with about 40 attendees. They also found out that next year's show is Phantom of the Opera. This coming Tuesday is the regular concert band and chorus spring concert at 7 p.m. Over April vacation, senior Charlotte Daniels participated in the Winter Guard International Finals in Dayton, Ohio with the Spartans, and they earned 8th place. And next week is Teacher Appreciation, so don't forget to appreciate your teachers. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as you can tell, so we've got a bunch of activities going on. And I actually have these to pass around if anyone wants to see them, which is kind of what we have going on for the Wellness Month as well. And I think Eva Therian sent out an email to everyone, especially the Wellness Committee, about being able to attend the Thought Talk Tuesdays.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's all I have.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. We've received no correspondence upon which to report, so we'll move right into the report of the committees. Finance and Facilities will next meet on May 17th. No. Why did I say that? I knew that was wrong. Sorry. We will not have a finance facility because we're doing the district budget meeting on the 17th, so it'll be the June 21st. Okay. Thank you. June 21st. Thank you. Okay. Ed Policy, we had a report out on your last meeting, at our last meeting. We have some first reads to do tonight. Is there anything else to add to that? No? Okay, good. And then Wellness SEL met earlier this evening.
We did.
Please.
We did, and actually Rowan did such a good job. Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time excitedly chatting about everything awesome that's going on at the high school in celebration of Wellness Month. So I think you pretty much covered that. The only thing, the kind of event type of thing that's happening at the high school is this Minding Your Mind, the Secret Lives of Teens and Tweens presentation with Counselor John Madelman. That was organized by Sarah Camp at the middle school, and it's going to be a dynamic and fun 2-hour presentation for parents and caregivers of teens and tweens that focuses on what youth in these age groups are really thinking, what they fear, what they do not share, and how caring adults can effectively support them. It's going to cover depression and anxiety, social media and technology, suicide, acting out behaviors, and a lot more. And that's going to be on Monday, May 15th from 6 to 8 at the high schools. Thought that was important to mention because it seems like that would be really relevant for a lot of us as parents. We also talked about staff wellness a couple meetings ago. There were some plans to do something really fun around some fun things for teachers, including some smoothies. That plan has changed, so there's something a little bit different in store, which is perfect timing in the Wellness Month for educators coming up. Also, Karen from Chartwells joined us, and she introduced us to Laura, who is a resident dietitian. We're going to be sharing Laura with several other schools, even down to Massachusetts. She's going to be coming once a week-ish, maybe more as needed, and making her way around to all the schools to be working with students in the classroom and introducing all kinds of topics around nutrition, which, if you really expand that out, is goes even further into how food affects us, how it affects our mood, sugar and caffeine, nutrition for athletes. She's also able to support our school nurses with things like food allergies and things like that. So she'll be a really interesting resource, I think, to have in our district next year. I think that's kind of all I have. I think that, that's kind of the big thing. And then I know at the Great Work School, health education has already gotten a really strong start this spring, even before we have the .6 health teacher coming in next year. So it's been fun to hear from Mr. Bernal all the things that have been going on there in terms of discussions about nutrition and positive decision making, first aid, and all those good things. So there's 16 different sessions for the Great Work School students, and that will be expanded obviously next year. So let's start. What did I forget?
Just that Gina Brodsky's coming next week, and she will speak to freshmen about making healthy choices and the dangers of vaping and smoking. I think that's next week. Yep.
Yes.
And then Mr. Cavalier shared that he met with the SRTC senior students to get some feedback, and got some good feedback about helping them have greater access to food service choices, that they can sort of grab and go options, expanding that a bit. And that they were pleased with the new advisory system, which was helpful in making them feel a little more in the loop going forward. Keep that in mind as we move forward with
know
the
one of-
guidance changes.
I know one of the focuses too on the nutrition program has been to include more student voice. So Mr. Bernal shared a really fun story, I thought, about that. Young students, that fourth graders, I think, that came to him and said, hey, you know, lunch is great, but we're vegetarians and we want to see more vegetarian options. And he just was tickled that students are
Cool.
stepping up and speaking out after so much time and invitation, I feel like. We're
Yes.
really starting to see that
Yes.
empowerment.
Can I share something with you that happened out of the Greybrook School? So, usually Monday morning is my stop. I'll stop at the Greybrook School, Central School, and I stopped into the Greybrook School, and I just checked in with Carol and said, how'd it go? How's everything? Good. She said, Friday didn't go well. I said, well, what happened? Well, we only served 8 lunches. Well, why? Well, they called it like Beef La Festa, something like this fancy long name, and it was like American Chop Suey. She's like, kids didn't even know what it was. And so like we try to be so creative
Yes.
for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
that's
like
funny.
Italiano beef fiesta or something like that. Kids are like, I don't even know what that is.
No,
I'm
what
like,
is
I'm gonna go
that?
feed them our jelly. So,
Oh, that's
so all these great intentions in the
Lesson
world,
learned.
That's cute.
remember our consumers and that,
Yeah.
our 4th and 5th graders and potentially, kindergartners through 3rd graders.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes we outsmart ourselves.
That's
So I thought
right.
that made my day here and then. So
that's fantastic.
Okay, you all had a very productive meeting this
We
evening.
did, there
Yeah,
was a lot
that's great.
It was
covered.
our last one
Our
for the-
last one for the year, right. so-
Okay. That moves us into new business, and we'll start with a motion to adopt the budget.
I will move to adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 district budget.
Second, Jen.
Any last comments or questions? All in favor? That is 4-0. Thank you. This next motion needs to be read as written, everything to the right of the word motion, so whoever wants to go ahead and dive in on that.
I move that the vote entitled "Vote to Call and Approve the Warrants for the Budget Meeting and the Budget Validation Referendum and to Authorize the Notice of Amounts Adopted" be approved in form presented to this meeting, and that a copy of said vote be included with the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Go ahead.
I'll second.
Kate, thank you. Okay, so this is the motion that kicks off this two-step process and puts in place all of the things that need to be put in place. Comments or questions? All in favor? That is also 4-0, and that will lead to a signing ceremony that we'll do after the meeting. Okay, may I have a nomination, or a motion, please, regarding our first-year probationary teachers?
I move to approve the nomination of first-year probationary teachers for second-year probationary teachers for the 2023-24 school year per the attached list.
I'll second.
Lisa, thank you.
May I make a comment?
Please.
Just as a reminder, this is the first year that we only have first-year probationary and second-year probationary. Last year was the last year where we had that third-year probationary, so the main state law changed, and so that is
Yep.
a slight change. So now we have 2 years to make that determination before teachers reach professional status. So just to-
So this is the first group.
This is the
Then
first group,
Wait,
our probationary 2s are the first year that it's been only the 2.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, sorry.
So we won't have, so therefore we don't have going to third year then?
That's correct.
Right.
Anymore,
That's
right?
right.
Okay,
And
like
third
we
year
had in
going
the-
to,
got it.
continuing contract, yep.
Got it.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor? 4-0, that's good. Thank you. We have a motion, please, with regard to the second-year probationary teachers.
I'll move to approve the nomination of second-year probationary teachers for continuing contract teachers for the 23-24 school year for the attached list.
Second, Jen.
Jen, thank you. Questions about that? All in favor? That is 4-0, thank you. We have a nomination for a new teacher, if I may have a motion, please.
I'll move to approve the nomination of Melissa Harper, first-year probationary teacher special education, central school, school year 23-24, CAGS 17, $86,029.
I'll second, Lisa.
Lisa, thank you. John?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. DeAaron reached out to me to say that they had found a candidate for the special education opening, and just again to reiterate, anytime that you can find a special education teacher, you do it quick. And so we move right along with this process. Melissa has incredible experience. She has her certificate of advanced graduate study, did her bachelor's at Plymouth State, her master's at Notre Dame College in Manchester, and then she did her CAGS at Lesley University in Cambridge. Tremendous experience as a special education teacher, teaching in Belfast, Maine, Stratham, New Hampshire, Swampscott, moving back to this area. And so she's really excited about joining us, most recently in Seabrook, most recently in Stratham. But really excited, some great ideas. I think it will be a great partnership with the current teacher at Central School. And I just kind of go back and want to thank the board. We moved to those 2 teachers, which really allows us to differentiate for those students in that building. And so to have a good partnership with the 2 teachers there has really been a game changer in that building. So we're really excited to welcome Melissa.
That's great.
Comments or questions? All in favor? That is 4-0. Thank you. A motion, please, with regard to this first reading of GBEBA.
I move to approve the first reading and discussion of policy GBEBA, staff conduct, ethics, and attire.
I'll second Kate.
Kate, thank you. This is a first read. Any comments on this out of the policy committee? This was the one that went
got-
back, right, that we voted down a
We got
couple
feedback
of days.
from
Yeah.
the QEA, and there was just a very small, number 8 on the last page, or the almost last page, highlighted in yellow, just a small elimination of should be minimal,
Okay,
sort of just.
And I know that was appreciated. I mean, it was just more so symbolic, that if we're gonna ask for feedback, we're a chance to be collaborative, to work together, we wanna
Yes.
model that, and so this is an opportunity. It costs, an extra month, but I think in long term, it just builds that partnership down the
Yep.
road, so.
for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. Comments or questions? All in favor? That is 4-0. Thank you. May I have a motion, please, with regard to IJNDB?
I move we approve the first reading and discussion of policy IJNDB, student computer and internet use.
Second, Jen.
Jen, thank you. This one has a lot of markups.
So this,
We were moving
Was it-
away, we're going with the MSMA
MSMA.
recommended policy.
Okay. And each of these highlighted areas is an ad from
Significant
their.
changes from
Yep,
what we currently have.
right,
I
okay.
think, part of this conversation kind of originated also from the idea of our responsibility to monitor, students using of the internet service or district emails. And so that
Sure.
led to a different set of questions that we're going to do a presentation the next time that the policy committee meetings a little bit deeper look into this. But really looking at some of the areas of our policy that we wanted to make sure that we had some clarity on, so.
Makes sense. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? Also 4-0, thank you. May I have a motion, please, with regard to IJNDB-R?
I'll move to approve the first reading and discussion of policy IJNDB-R, student computer and internet procedures.
I'll second, Lisa.
Lisa, thank you. This is related.
So this is really
Dash
the
our
administrative
rules.
procedure
Yep.
of how we do things in
Yep.
the event when we're managing the student computer and internet use.
Right. Okay.
And these both also add in, they talk about not just on the school-issued computers, but if they're on their own sort of like computer from home, but they're on a school network
Right.
and on school property.
That makes sense. Okay, any further comments or questions? All in favor? Good, that's 4-0. And lastly, we have GCSA, if I may have a motion, please.
Move we approve the first reading and discussion of policy GCSA, employee computer and internet use.
Second, Jen.
Thank you.
So these are two different policies, and so we kind of, the way we do it, we lumped everything together, and really the recommendation is that employee computer and internet use should be a separate policy, different than cell phone use and electronic devices. So we follow that advice.
Right, that's good. So, for instance, eliminating cell phone and electronic devices from the title.
Yes.
Yep. And then we'll look at a later policy that to address phones, which is GBCC, I think.
Okay. Good. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Okay, 4-0, thank you. That, it turns out, concludes our new business and brings us to the building administrator's check-in. Who wishes to go first? Jerry wishes to go first.
So just a couple things. Since the last time we were here, just before vacation, we had our fifth grade play, Little Mermaid Junior, and Annabelle was working on that. And the kids do such a good job, and of course the adults do too. And it was one of our, I think we had about 35, 40 kids in the cast and backstage. And just activities like that, I don't think we sometimes know the importance it is, because you are part of that team, and kiddos that didn't think they could speak in front of a crowd or whatever. So just, the district offers so many of those things. So the kids did a great job. The other thing is, I was in a classroom the other day doing an observation, and it was Sarah Lindgren's class. And she and Laurie Gerard are working with the Gulf of Maine Institute, a research institute. And so they were talking with a couple of scientists from, I think it was UMO. I think it was UMO. And so it was on vernal pools. And so it was, so the kids went out they found a couple of vernal pools out behind, right across from the high school here. And so they did some study. But the idea of this whole thing was, you're looking for caddisflies and I think fairy shrimp. And you were using this for science research. So the kids go out and and they find some things and they have to number, and it is just, it's having those type of opportunities to do. They actually found a caddisfly, which is, it was sometimes pretty uncommon. They brought it into me to show it, and just the excitement kids have with that. And, when I retire, you're going to probably say, Burnell, just stop these stories you have, but I can't. So we have one kiddo that is, he likes the four-wheel, and he, if there's a puddle, he wants to go through that puddle. He was on this trip. And so what he did, though, he learned about vernal pools and the importance of vernal pools. And so now he is convinced, he and his dad, when you come into these puddles, you can't. You have to go around them.
Nice.
And so, and there's a couple of families that now, on Saturdays, they go out into the vernal pools. And so, here is this school activity. You just don't know the impact that's going to have. And I see Heather here. I just have to thank Heather, and then I'll stop talking. But, I call Heather up and say, Heather, can you get some kids to the vernal pools? I don't know how she makes it happen, but she makes it happen. Last night, I don't know if you remember in the fall, we had a field trip where two of our classes adopted a cow in Turner, Maine. Okay? I called Heather and said, there is no way, but my teachers want me to ask, can we go to Turner? And Heather makes it happen. They want to go back and see the cow. And so I emailed her last night about 7 o'clock, and I said, I know there's not a chance. And so I get an email back this morning from Heather saying, good luck, say hi to the cow for me. And so she just makes it happen, so
Yes.
just hats off to her.
That's
So,
great.
thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you, Heather.
Just a couple of things. This is Staff Appreciation Week, and our PTO is just, I can't even tell you how much they've gone above and beyond this week. They did all this pre-planning where they actually surveyed all the staff to ask them for their, I think it was like 12 categories of their favorite things to do, favorite drinks, so now all these kids, and then they published that to the parents. We didn't realize that, so we made sure, we were like, what did we say? But it was all good stuff that we said. So parents, like we had a little guy today walking around, he brought me popcorn and seltzer. Like, how did he bring everybody's favorite things. Just so nice. And every day, Monday was breakfast, Tuesday was make your own sandwiches and salads, today was a granola bar. Then yesterday we got to have a menu where we picked from either Lee Franks or Oddfellows and what we want. That was the excitement of the day, is picking what you were going to have for lunch tomorrow. And then Friday is a giant breakfast and raffle with all these huge gift baskets. So I just thank Angie Marshall and everybody at the PTO. They are just making this week so super special. The other thing is it's concert season, so Kate Smith has just been amazing getting all our concerts together. Last night was the big kindergarten concert, and it was like the cutest thing I've ever seen. At night they were just, the afternoon was great, but at night they were just on fire. They were just like competing to see who was going to be the most dramatic. And Kate, even at the very end, they had light up finger for this little light of mine, and she turned off all the lights, which I thought was very brave. And the kids they loved it. So, and then today we have a neighbor, Layla and Bill. Layla's the dog and Bill's the man, who all the kids, he stands outside every day. So the kids can wave and talk to Layla when they walk to school. So he's definitely part of the community. So Kate brought over a kindergarten class to sing to him the whole concert outside so that Layla and Bill,
That's awesome.
Bill and Layla got to hear. So just really grateful for all the concerts and seeing the kids back, and Kate's doing an amazing job.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Evening. So we had our PEEPS kickoff recently, and it was a huge success. The kids, Kitty McGinnis led the cheering section and orchestrated the whole event. She had students marching around the gymnasium with banners recognizing their grade level. And the point of it is to raise some enthusiasm with students who will now write postcards, send them to family members or friends who will hopefully make a donation to PEEPS. And students it was shared with students that those donations actually support their field trips, special activities, special things in the classroom, including some new things for the new playground. So that was an exciting day. It was great fun. The class that created or made out the most postcards and sent them out, there was a challenge. And the challenge was, if they sold the most, that classroom would earn lunch with Dr. Harrison on Friday. So I'm serving Tess Barbaro's class, first graders. On Friday, we're going to sit down and eat pizza and sippy cups and popsicles and the whole works. So we ought to have fun with that. Our Unified Arts Night, I referenced it last time I was here, but it was a huge success. There were parents in the gymnasium participating actively with their own children in line dancing. Students were viewing artwork that the students had created. It was just wonderful. They participated in some music with Marissa Armitage, and it was great. We had the Scholastic Book Fair taking place in the library by Meredith Seggett, which was great, well attended, lots of purchases. So again, some support for our library. Maple syrup breakfast. It's a tradition at Elliott Elementary School. They actually, members of the PEEPS team, tapped maple trees outside, and some of that syrup was used for breakfast. Mary Emerson did a great job in making a few extra cups, one for the principal, of the real thing from right out back. So that was fun. And I just wanted to say something about our stargazing night, which was hosted by our first grade team. It was amazing. And I'll tell you how amazing it was. And actually, I'll let this parent tell you. A parent shared with us, "Thank you for an outstanding first grade stargazing night. It was spectacular. The format of the indoor-outdoor was awesome. The flow of activities, opportunities for families to socialize while also learning more about the students' work, and the telescopes with such knowledgeable presenters. I can't even think of anything better. So many parents talked about what a great event it was. A few teachers at other schools said that they are going to bring this idea back to their district. The joy and passion you have for your students," speaking to the first grade teachers, "was so evident. MSAD 35 is so lucky to have you as teachers. I appreciate your hard work and effort towards putting this event together. Thank you so much. That's from a
wonderful.
parent.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Okay, any last comments or questions from the board? In that case, I'll entertain our motion to enter into executive session.
Can I, Joe?
Sorry.
There's a bunch of papers to
Yes.
sign.
Yep.
Can we end the meeting, take a 5-minute break to give you all a chance to sign the paperwork for the referendum and then go into executive
Sure.
session? Just because I don't want to keep Ryan here.
Okay,
That's okay?
yep, we can do that. Let's do the motion after we sign the papers, is that what you're saying? Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay,
So do we close this meeting?
well, we can't,
I
we
think just have Ryan sign it. We can be in
Oh,
session.
okay.
Can't just bring the papers,
Yeah.
the board can sign them once they're
pa-
signed. then we
papers are here.
Okay.
can- There you go.
All right.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks, good to see you.
Bye-bye.
No.
Ryan, did you want to come up here and coach us so we don't mess this up?
God forbid.